So I'd like to bring up our keynote speaker now, Jason Harvey. He is an EVP and General Manager of BET+, and he's going to talk to us around storytelling that sticks, predictive modeling with a cultural connection. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, thank you, thank you. I think I have a clicker around here somewhere. Boom, I hope this one works. It looks like everybody's ready. Everybody's had coffee. It feels like people are sitting in the same place I used to sit in high school, which is in the back and towards the exit. I promise I'm not gonna say anything to make you guys run towards the exit. My name's Jason. I run BET+. For those that don't know, it's the streaming video on demand service that caters to Black storytelling. And we give a platform for Black creators to tell their authentic truth, right, unfiltered. And we've been around for 6 years, which in this industry, as you know, in entertainment, is a lifetime. And we've done that because we really focused in on what we do best, and that is tell true, authentic stories. And we've done that with a really small marketing budget, a really small content acquisition budget, and then obviously a really small organization. There's very few of us, but the few folks that we do have really focused in on data and how do we leverage data to tell these stories. And then more specifically, because we've been able to structure our data, we're able to leverage it and use predictive modeling to let us know how to dig deeper and have deeper connections with our subscribers. Now, AI, you hear it all over the entertainment industry. But mostly it's about how are we going to reduce costs and how are we going to create and write stories, how are we going to displace writers basically so that we can use AI and tell these stories. We have, I don't know if you heard of Tilly Norwood, who is now the AI actress who is supposed to ultimately win an Academy Award at some point. I don't know if there's going to be an AI award for that, but the talk has been around production and how do we produce and how do we reduce these particular costs that are related to production. But as it relates to creativity, that's where I feel there's an opportunity to really dig in. Creativity for me is human felt. It's about love, it's about test and protest and empathy, all of those things that I think an artificial intelligence is difficult for them to create, right? So we dig into not necessarily how we look at creativity with AI. We try to understand how can AI deepen rather than dilute the relationship we have with our subscribers? And that's really important. We're not trying to create the next Gone with the Wind using AI tools. We're trying to understand how can we build this connection with our subscribers on a really deep and meaningful level, because that's the whole purpose for BET+. Data alone doesn't move culture. Stories do, right? And so what we're trying to do is create the best stories. And I think we've done a pretty good job so far. The lights go down by any chance? So... No, okay.
Something that I've always wanted to have.
We're engaged. It is good to be back. Hell yeah! I won!
Well, I'm just happy to be home with my family. You were all chosen.
That's what we do. You guys can clap too if you guys like to. I thought it was cool. A lot of work gets put into doing those sizzle reels as well as the content that we create. So ultimately, it's not just about data, right? At BET+, we're leveraging AI to authentically connect with our users. We understand, and research shows, that a deeper cultural connection with content drives engagement and it drives loyalty. And so we leverage machine learning, predictability, AI in a structured way to be able to provide ultimately this deeper connection. And what's the BET Plus advantage, right? It's where culture meets code. We leverage AI for personalization. And this is personalization across the entire subscriber journey, not just recommendation engines, but how we communicate with specific subscribers when they're onboarded, when they're in their first month, their second month, all the way through the 6 years of being a BET Plus subscriber. We're continually communicating with them and providing them a unique experience. There's profitability. Like we actually take, whether it's through Markov chain or whether it's through NARX modeling, we understand acquisition costs. We optimize acquisition costs so we can reduce our cost per free trial and cost per subscriber. We reduce churn through leveraging these type of models to understand profitability. And we actually use the Markov chain model that allows us to attribute revenue down to a specific title so we can understand return on investment for each individual piece of content. But what we're talking about today is predictive analytics. How can we use all of these models to understand and predict subscriber behavior or to predict business impact? And so an example of that might be Average Joe, where we really wanted to understand this new audience. Average Joe was a release, new talent that wasn't, that hadn't been on BET Plus. We had a dramedy that was also very dark. We are a female skewing platform, and so this was something that we weren't sure was gonna resonate. And so we leveraged a few things to like dimensionality reduction, cluster analysis to identify and understand the exact taste profiles that were gonna most resonate for this particular show. And then we leveraged those audiences and those profiles, we pushed them against various marketing channels to make sure that we can get them at the most efficient price. As I mentioned, we did not have a huge marketing budget, so every piece in marketing dollar that we spent had to be hitting home runs. We couldn't hit singles because singles weren't gonna work for us. We couldn't throw a bunch of content out there, a bunch of marketing dollars out there and hope people came. So that, as you can see, drastically reduced our cost per free trial. That's what CPFT is. I'll throw a bunch of acronyms out there, but our cost per free trial was reduced by 13%, and it actually increased our conversions by 22%. So we got it right, leveraging machine learning. Another example is how do we improve subscriber loyalty? Everyone knows in the business of streaming, it's a subscription-based business. We have to keep our subscribers. So we created a retention scorecard to understand propensity to churn. And we leveraged gradient-boosted data tree analysis and models to understand and get at what are the key attributes that help us understand which subscribers are about to churn, and how do we develop a mitigation process to ensure that those folks don't churn. Well, we got the scorecard. You can see this is an actual chart for our subscriber loyalty and how it's kind of looked by various retention scores, right? So we have cohorts that are in S, and if you guys are gamers, S is like the best you can possibly get, and then A, B, C, D, F, and those are the kind of how they've trended over the weeks. But ultimately, we take this retention score, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, and we push it into our CRM, and ultimately we get what is a improved click-to-view rate on mobile, and as well as a increased retention on our low-propensity subscribers. So we increased our retention on low-propensity subscribers by 18%. What does low-propensity subscribers mean? That just means folks that are generally longer in their tenure, they have a lower propensity to churn, but they do churn, right? And we were able to mitigate 18% of that churn. So I threw gradient-boosted decision tree out there, so I wanted to kind of like dig into that a little bit more because some folks are like, GBDT, what is that? GBDT is basically this opportunity that allows a decision tree to make all these decisions, then the model grades those decisions and determines, which ones were the most likely to contribute to a next action. And we feed that model with a bunch of things. We feed it with somebody added to the watch list, when they came in, how much they viewed, which device they used, which platform, and we pull that together, we run it through the GBT model, and ultimately we get a retention score. And that's phenomenal. We get this retention score, we understand these folks, what their propensity is to retain and to churn, then we throw that into our CRM, And the CRM dynamically shoots out messaging that says, hey, messaging for those that we think are going to churn, hey, have you checked out this new series? And this is all tailored, by the way, and personalized. Have you checked out this new series that's coming out that's much like the series you just watched? You should stick around. Or, hey, we noticed that you cut off in the 3rd episode of Average Joe. Why don't you stick around because the 4th episode is next week? So that was the mechanism that allowed us to increase our subscriber retention and ultimately our loyalty. And loyalty, again, in this game is very difficult, but we were able to do that. I think the most impressive thing about this is my data science team, who had a chance to recently go to NVIDIA and explain all of these cool things that we're doing with AI and machine learning. We actually showed them how we use NARX to optimize our marketing efficiencies and to reduce acquisition costs. We talked to them about GBDT, the same thing I just explained to you, we laid out and put in front of NVIDIA. We also talked to them about Markov change, which allows us to tie specific revenue to individual titles to let us do return on investment. And it was fantastic. And the collaboration has been so great with NVIDIA that they allowed us to take possession of a quote unquote supercomputer, a hardware device that hasn't even been commercialized yet, to allow us to test it and do a bunch of different things on it. And I say things because I'm not a data scientist and I can't tell you exactly what they did. But ultimately, it enabled us to take 6 years of work that normally takes us days to do. We did it in less than an hour. Those are the types of things when you're really digging in and kind of thinking about the subscriber in a very holistic and meaningful way that you're able to unlock. So AI alone is not just the only thing that drives loyalty, right? I talked a lot about machine learning and AI and all the things, and we set ourselves up to be able to leverage that, and that's great. But ultimately, it's about an ecosystem. It's about having the storytelling happen, creating audience connection with that storytelling, whether it's through viewing or whether it's through a number of other opportunities to connect with subscribers. It's about leveraging those AI tools, because if you can bring in all of those various events in a structured way, then a machine learning model can take those events and do all of the cool things that we've been talking about, predictive analysis and optimization. And then we use all this feedback and we collaborate with our creators, so that they have an opportunity to take this information in and build the next cool TV show or the next cool movie. That's the ecosystem that we're talking about. And when you have a storytelling ecosystem that works, it drives results. We talked about audience connection. That's fundamental. There's also cultural impact. We've had a chance to really impact the culture in a number of different ways. And I'll talk to that in a few. And then creative power, giving power to the creators to do really cool stuff and not worry about all the, sweating the small stuff. We've given them the blueprint. We've helped them by using these tools to give them a blueprint of how to be successful on our platform. And then ultimately, authenticity, because that's what it's about, right? We can't go into a room and be inauthentic, especially to our particular audience. They're gonna sniff that out in a second. They see it on other platforms, bless you. And they also, will recognize that. And so we're consistently being authentic. And all that, believe it or not, drives business impact. So let's talk a little bit about audience connection. Audience connection for us is our content, obviously. It's deeply rooted in authenticity, it's unfiltered. We have stuff on our platform that would not get put on any other platform for a number of different reasons, but for us, it's okay. We have events. There's actual specific moments in culture. There's the BET Experience, there's the BET Awards, there's the Hip Hop Awards, which unfortunately got canceled, but there are all these moments that will allow us to build this deeper connection with our subscribers. We also do premieres, right? So we premiere shows all the time. There's talent there, and we actually reach out through lifecycle marketing to folks that are in those cities, and we say, hey, we're having this premiere. We're gonna give you an opportunity to come meet the talent and ultimately get a sneak peek at the first episode or the movie. And that drives a deeper and meaningful connection. Cultural impact. I think everybody knows who Martin Lawrence is. Show Martin was a success in the 90s. we worked with them, was like, hey, we need to do a reunion show. And then that's when reunion shows were real hot. But we're like, we need to do a reunion show for Martin. And in that process of creating this really cool special to bring everybody back, because we got everybody back, we found out that Martin Lawrence did not have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We're like, what? After all these years and who you are? So we actually contacted the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce and we said, this has got to change. And we actually got him a star in April of 2023 to make sure that his impact maintains and stays longer than he does. Creative power. I've talked about Average Joe. It's one of my favorite shows. There's a bunch of great shows on BET+. There was an article that came out that was like, BET Plus is the streaming service you never know you needed. And, you know, this is why. This is a great show. Now, we really wanted to do a season 2. We're like, we got to do season 2, but the costs were extremely high, especially how the season 2 script was written. So we worked with the creators. We said, hey, we can't do this unless we figure out a lower cost of production. And so we identified an opportunity to work in South Africa, worked with the producers and the writers, and they actually, instead of saying, hey, we're going to take Pittsburgh and pretend like South Africa's Pittsburgh, they rewrote the entire script to make it a South African script, or excuse me, to make it a script that was set in South Africa. And I think we're better for it because the juices got flowing and the second season is phenomenal. And I actually have a sneak peek behind the scenes that we used for Comic-Con that I'm gonna let you guys see. So, you know, just make sure you don't let it out.
Hey, Comic-Con.
Hey, Comic-Con, I'm Malcolm Barrett.
Cynthia K. McWilliams here.
This is Michael Trucco.
It's your boy Deion Cole, and welcome to Average Joe Behind the Scenes.
5 words to describe Average Joe are bloody,
Action.
Heart.
Dangerous.
Very twisted.
Money.
Weird. Average Joe in extraordinary situations.
Here we go, and action!
Season 2, South Africa, Cape Town, insanity. Insanity.
And it was insanity. I got a chance to go to South Africa. I'd never been before. I had a chance to go down and, you know, I was forced to go down to Cape Town and check on the set. It was phenomenal. The chemistry was crazy. The show was going to be amazing. The final attribute that this ecosystem of storytelling is authenticity. And that, you know, that's just table stakes for us. It's our foundation. It's what we do. We've gone out, Ipsos has gone out. This is time and time again, we come out with the same thing, that we are authentic, that we're buzzworthy, that we're energized, that we tell the great stories. And that's what our particular audience needs. I mean, 79% of our audience, or 76, excuse me, place significantly more importance on supporting Black content than anybody else. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward. And when they look to Black content, Black original movies, they look to BET+. Generally, they go to Netflix, but they look for BET+ for this very specific type of content. And that all has business impact, right? We've had over 35 million users at BET+. We're the #1 streaming service dedicated to Black storytelling by far, by leaps and bounds. We've got 2 billion hours of content viewed. We got terabytes of data that we continue to pull in on a regular basis. We've had 4 Emmy nominations in the first 5 years. Just to put that in perspective, BET Media Group, which is our parent, they've been around for 45 years. Not once in their 40-year history before BET Plus have they achieved an Emmy nomination, and we did 4 in the last 5 years. So that just tells you the type of quality of the content that we're putting out there, and we're really proud of it. And that's the impact that we have when we can take these things and build this ecosystem of storytelling. Because BET Plus, it's where culture meets code. We take the data, we take the information, we bring it all together, we tell really great stories, and we build these deeper connections with our subscribers. And, you know, we're gonna continue to do that until they tell us to stop. Now, we all know the industry is difficult, but we feel that, you know, we have the wherewithal and the organizational power to keep us moving. Thank you so much, appreciate it. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I don't really know what's next, so I'm just going to throw it to my guy. I guess I was quicker than I thought. I'm good to go. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.